the key of thrice greatest Hermes. Hermes. My yesterday's discourse logos I did devote to thee, Asclepius, and so 'tis only right I should devote today's to Tat. And this the more because 'tis the abridgment of the general sermon's logos which he has had addressed to him. God, Father and the good, then, Tat, hath the same nature, or more exactly, energy. For nature is a predicate of growth, and used of things that change, both mobile and immobile, that is to say, both human and divine, each one of which he willeth into being. But energy consists in something else, as we have shown in treating of the rest, both things divine and human things. Which thing we ought to have in mind when treating of the good. God's energy is then his will. Further, his essence is to will the being of all things. For what is God and Father and the good but the to be of all that are not yet? Nay, subsistent self of everything that is. This, then, is God, this Father, this the good. To him is added naught of all the rest. And though the cosmos, that is to say the sun, is also sire himself to them that share in him, yet so far is he not the cause of good unto the lives, he is not even of their living. So that e'en if he be a sire, he is entirely so by the compulsion of the good's good will, apart from which nor being nor becoming could e'er be. Again, the parent is the children's cause, both on the father's and the mother's side, only by sharing in the good's desire that doth pour through the son. It is the good which doeth the creating. And such a power can be possessed by no one else than him alone who taketh naught, but wills all things to be. I will not, Tat, say makes. For that the maker is defective for long periods in which he sometimes makes, and sometimes doth not make, both in the quality and in the quantity of what he makes. In that he sometimes maketh them so many and such like, and sometimes the reverse. But God and Father and the good is cause for all to be. So are at least these things, for who can see? For it doth will to be, and it is both itself and most of all by reason of itself. Indeed all other things beside are just because of it. For the distinctive feature of the good is that it should be known. Such is the good, O Tat. Tat. Thou hast, O Father, filled us so full of this so good and fairest sight, that thereby my mind's eye hath now become for me almost a thing to worship. For that the vision of the good doth not, like the sun's beam, fire like blaze on the eyes and make them close. Nay, on the contrary, it shineth forth and maketh to increase the seeing of the eye, as far as e'er a man hath the capacity to hold the inflow of the radiance that the mind alone can see. Not only does it come more swiftly down to us, but it does us no harm, and is instinct with all immortal life. They who are able to drink in a somewhat more than others of this sight, oft-times from out the body fall asleep into this fairest spectacle, as was the case with Uranus and Cronus, our forebears. May this be our lot too, O Father mine. Yea, may it be, my son. But as it is, we are not yet strung to the vision, and not as yet have we the power our mind's eye to unfold and gaze upon the beauty of the good, beauty that naught can e'er corrupt or any comprehend. For only then wilt thou upon it gaze when thou canst say no word concerning it. For gnosis of the good is holy silence and a giving holiday to every sense. For neither can he who perceiveth it, perceive aught else. Nor he who gazeth on it, gaze on aught else. Nor hear aught else, nor stir his body any way. Staying his body's every sense and every motion he stayeth still. And shining then all round his mind, it shines through his whole soul, and draws it out of body, transforming all of him to essence. For it is possible, my son, that a man's soul should be made like to God, e'en while it still is in a body, if it doth contemplate the beauty of the good. Tat. Made like to God. What dost thou, farther, mean? Of every soul apart are transformations, son. Tat. What meanest thou? Apart. Didst thou not, in the general sermons, hear that from one soul the all-soul come all these souls which are made to revolve in all the cosmos, as though divided off? Of these souls, then, it is that there are many changes, some to a happier lot and some to just the contrary of this. Thus some that were once creeping things change into things that in the water dwell, the souls of water things change to earth dwellers, those that live on the earth change into things with wings, and souls that live in air change into men, while human souls reach the first step of deathlessness changed into demons. And so they circle to the choir of the inerrant gods. For of the gods there are two choirs, the one inerrant, and the other errant. And this is the most perfect glory of the soul. But if the soul on entering in the body of a man persisteth in its vice, it neither testeth deathlessness nor shreth in the good, but speeding back again it turns into the path that leads to creeping things. This is the sentence of the vicious soul. And the soul's vice is ignorance. For that the soul who hath no knowledge of the things that are, or knowledge of their nature, or of good, is blinded by the body's passions and tossed about. This wretched soul, not knowing what she is, becomes the slave of bodies of strange form in sorry plight, bearing the body as a load. Not as the ruler, but the ruled. This ignorance is the soul's vice. But on the other hand the virtue of the soul is gnosis. For he who knows, he good and pious is, and still while on the earth divine. Tat. But who is such an one, O Father mine? Her. He who doth not say much or lend his ear to much. For he who spendeth time in arguing and hearing arguments, doth shadow. Fight. For God, the Father and the good, is not to be obtained by speech or hearing. And yet though this is so, there are in all the beings senses, in that they cannot without senses be. But gnosis is far different from sense. For sense is brought about by that which hath the mastery o'er us, while gnosis is the end of science, and science is God's gift. All science is incorporeal, the instrument it uses being the mind, just as the mind employs the body. Both then come into bodies, I mean both things that are cognizable by mind alone and things material. For all things must consist out of antithesis and contrariety. And this can otherwise not be. Tat. Who then is this material God of whom thou speakest? Her. Cosmos is beautiful, but is not good for that it is material and freely passable. And though it is the first of all things passable, yet is it in the second rank of being and wanting in itself. And though it never hath itself its birth in time, but ever is, yet is its being and becoming. Becoming for all time the genesis of qualities and quantities. For it is mobile and all material motion's genesis. It is intelligible rest that moves material motion in this way, since cosmos is a sphere, that is to say, a head. And not of head above's material, as not of feet below's intelligible, but all material. And head itself moved in a sphere-like way, that is to say, as head should move, is mind. All then that are united to the tissue of this head in which is soul are in their nature free from death, just as when body hath been made in soul, are things that have more soul than body. Whereas those things which are at greater distance from this tissue there, where are things which have a greater share of body than of soul, are by their nature subject unto death. The whole, however, is a life. So that the universe consists of both the hylic and of the intelligible. Again, the cosmos is the first of living things, while man is second after it, those first of things subject to death. Man hath the same ensouling power in them as all the rest of living things. Yet is he not only not good, but even evil, for that he is subject unto death. For though the cosmos also is not good in that it suffers motion, it is not evil, in that it is not subject unto death. But man, in that he is subject both to motion and to death, is evil,